This is Radio Taiwan International.
Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Marianne Shoko, coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Tuesday, May 27th. President Lai meets European Parliament delegation. Guatemalan President sets state visit to Taiwan in June. And Taiwan's Pacific allies not attending China-Pacific ministers' meeting. But first, today's top story. President Lai Ching-te met with a group of European Parliament members on Tuesday. The delegation included Reinis Posnax, Beatrice Timgren, and European Parliament Policy Advisor Jens Vorno. President Lai noted that in April, the European Parliament passed 2 resolutions of its annual reports on the implementation of the Common Foreign and Security Policy and the Common Security and Defense Policy. The reports have affirmed the European Parliament's stance on maintaining the status quo across the Taiwan Strait. Lai says the European Parliament stresses Taiwan's role as a key democratic partner in the Asia-Pacific and calls on the EU and its member states to strengthen cooperation with Taiwan by deepening economic ties. Lai expresses hope that Taiwan and the EU will deepen their collaboration to build a more resilient democratic supply chain and contribute to the advancement of global democracy. Posnax says that both Latvia and Taiwan face threats from their respective neighbors, and he expressed deep empathy with the Taiwanese people. He adds that the world today is full of challenges and calls on all democratic countries to unite and cooperate to defend freedom and democracy and to uphold a world governed by the rule of law. Timgren says that democratic countries have learned a lesson from the Russo-Ukrainian war and have stood up to support Ukraine, thereby weakening Russia's ability to wage war. She adds that democracies should support one another and strengthen their ties in order to demonstrate solidarity and better defend themselves against threats from Russia and China. Guatemalan President Bernardo Arévalo said he will lead a delegation to Taiwan in early June for a state visit and to meet with President Lai Ching-te. The announcement was made on Monday local time during a press conference where he said the visit aims to strengthen Guatemala's friendly and cooperative ties with Taiwan. Arévalo says a key focus will be advancing bilateral cooperation in technology, particularly through encouraging high-tech investment from Taiwan to support Guatemala's development. He emphasizes the importance of establishing concrete partnerships in the semiconductor sector and says that a Guatemalan delegation of around 30 representatives from various industries and cities is currently in Taiwan attending high-tech seminars. Guatemala will also host a major tech conference bringing together Taiwanese tech leaders and Guatemalan officials to further promote industry collaboration in August. Arévalo has consistently voiced strong support for Taiwan and expresses hopes to elevate bilateral ties to a strategic alliance. He says Taiwan's long-standing assistance in various sectors demonstrates the deep friendship between the two countries. Guatemala is among the 12 nations that have official diplomatic ties with Taiwan. The Guatemalan delegation will include Economy Minister Gabriela Garcia Quinn, Foreign Minister Carlos Ramiro Martinez, and First Lady Lucrecia Peinado. Taiwan's foreign ministry says its 3 Pacific allies, Tuvalu, the Marshall Islands, and Palau, will not be attending this week's China-Pacific Island countries' foreign ministers' meeting in Xiamen, China. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Xiao Guangwei says none of the allies were invited and confirmed that no officials will be taking part. The meeting is expected to include foreign ministers from 11 Pacific nations and the Deputy Secretary General of the Pacific Islands Forum. Taiwan recently hosted high-level visits from all 3 allies. In April, Tuvalu's Deputy Prime Minister, Panapasi Nelason, visited Taiwan, followed by a delegation led by the Marshall Islands Justice, Immigration and Labor Minister, Wisely Zachras, in May. Last week, Palawan President Surangel Whips Jr. ended a visit to Taiwan, which the ministry says demonstrates the two countries' firm commitment to jointly promote sustainable development. The Research Center for Taiwan Economic Development at the National Central University released Taiwan's latest Consumer Confidence Index, or CCI, for May on Tuesday. The report indicates that the CCI has declined for 9 consecutive months, reaching a 13-month low, reflecting growing domestic concerns about future economic prospects. The Research Center reported a CCI of 64.95 points, a decrease of 3.28 points compared to April. The survey evaluated 6 indicators, including price levels and employment opportunities, all of which saw declines. Notably, the indicator for the stock investment outlook over the next 6 months dropped by 11.82 points. Director of the Research Center, Wu Daren, explains that although the United States and China reached a preliminary consensus on tariff issues in early May, and the Taiwan Stock Exchange Index has rebounded to 21,000 points, consumers remain pessimistic about future developments in the economy and the stock market. Wu notes that although Taiwan has sought to mitigate the impact of reciprocal tariffs and taxes on semiconductors by increasing Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company's investments in the U.S., the Trump administration is unlikely to ease its tariff policy due to ongoing domestic financial pressures. He points out that should a tariff rate below 20% be negotiated, it is still significantly higher than the 10% rate set during the 90-day buffer period the U.S. implemented before fully enforcing the policy. Wu says that this situation will directly impact Taiwan's export-oriented economy, posing a serious challenge to its economic outlook over the next 6 months. Foreign Minister Lin Jialong welcomed a visiting delegation of members of the European Parliament, or MEPs, on Monday. According to a Foreign Ministry press release on Tuesday, the minister met with MEPs Reinis Poznax, Beatrice Timgren, and European Parliament Policy Advisor Jens Vorno. During the meeting, Lin thanked the European Parliament for passing a resolution in October last year opposing China's distortion of UN General Assembly Resolution 2758. He said that although Taiwan and Europe are geographically distant, they are closely connected by their shared values of democracy, freedom, and the rule of law. Meet the fluffy new star of a car repair shop in Taiwan, where one tiny sheep is stealing hearts and turning heads.
With her snow-white fur and soft, bouncy curls, this little lamb looks more like she belongs on a farm than inside a car repair shop. But here she is, trotting around like she owns the place, while her bell jingles around her neck. When she hears a familiar voice, she rushes over, so fast that she nearly slides on the smooth floor. The owner jokes that she's like a puppy. It's an unusual scene, a lamb in a garage. Why is she here? The owner of the shop in Miaoli spent 600,000 NT dollars, or $20,000 to import a pair of Valais black-nosed sheep from Switzerland 2 years ago. The pair had 2 lambs, but the mother rejected her daughter and left her with no milk. He brought this little one to the shop and raised her by hand. Now 2 months old, the lamb is healthy, happy, and incredibly fluffy, with a completely black face and nearly hidden eyes. Wherever he goes, she follows, and when he crouches down, she comes in close. He says she wants milk, and she latches on right away. Her antics have made her the star of the shop, and everyone wants a turn being the bottle-feeding nanny. But this little lamb won't be here forever. Once she's weaned, she'll move to a professional breeding farm, where she can get the care and space she needs. Until then, it's a little lamb, not Lamborghinis, turning heads in this car shop. Amber Hatfield for RTI News.
Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Marianne Shaka. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.